ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थे सुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आविश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहैतुकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter number 10, Verse number 38.
So we were just talking about the love of Yashoda and love of Devaki and the difference in between Yashoda's love and Devaki's love. But there's also Rohini in the whole Leela. And where does Rohini actually belong? What is the love of Rohini? Because she had also two children. She had Balarama and Krishna. And what was her love compared to Yashoda's love and Devaki? Where is she standing like? And especially because she's moving in between two Leelas. So I would like to understand.
So she's standing in between.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where she stands. She is in in Dwarka and she is in Vraj.
Yeah.
And Yashoda is only in Vraj. And Devaki is outside Vraj. So that's this.
And she's closely related to Yashoda, so her love for Krishna is also like as strong as Yashoda's love. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, Yashoda is superior obviously because she is the mother.
Mhm. Okay. So, is there a difference always in between a mother and, for instance, a mother that gave birth to a child? Would she always have more love for the child than someone that is not a natural mother, birth mother to a child? Or that's
Yeah,
not
normal
always the
mother
case?
is obviously will have, but abnormal mothers not. But yes, it is expected that mother will have more love than anyone else.
Okay.
So we are continuing to read the prayers of the two sons of Kubera, and in the previous sloka they said that know us to be servants of Narada, who is your Anuchara, and it is by his grace that we have attained your darshan. Darshanam now Bhagavata Rishirashid Anugrahat. So this also signifies that how they are showing a relationship with Krishna. Because just like if you go to some big person, then and if you want a favor from that, so one is that you can approach independently, other is if you can find a relationship with somebody who is related to that big person, then that certainly makes a better possibility of getting the favor. So therefore they are saying that we are Anuchara Kinkaro. Any problem? अभी ठीक है. स्ववाणी गुणानुकथने श्रवणौ कथायां हस्तौ च कर्मसु मनस्तव पादयोर्न स्मृत्यां शिरस्तव निवास जगत प्रणामे दृष्टि सताम दर्शनेस्तु भवत्तनूनाम. So this is the prayer, which is a very nice prayer. It says Vani Gunanukathane, that our speech should be engaged in describing your wonderful qualities. And Shravanau Kathayam, and our ears should be engaged in hearing about your Katha. Hastaucha Karmasu, and our hand in performing work for you. And Manasta Padayorna Smrityam, and let our mind be engaged in remembering your feet. And Shirastava Nivasa Jagat Pranami, and let our head bow down to your devotees. Drishti Satam Darshane Astu Bhavattanunam, and our eyes in seeing devotees, having darshan of the devotees, and also having darshan of your Vigraha. So this is the proper use of our senses. Senses are called Rishika, and Krishna is called Rishikesha. So he is the master, therefore senses should be used in him, in his service. So Indriya, they are called Indriya, and he is the Indra. So Tvad Anuchara Kinkarattvadeva Avyostvad Vatsalya Atishayam Alakshya Anye Durlabham Yapi Idam Prarthetum Utsahavahe. So as they said in the previous sloka, that Tava Anuchara Kinkaro, that we are the Kinkara, servant of your servant. So now he is commenting on this, that because we are the servant of your servant, therefore avyostvad vatsalya atishayam alakshya anni durlabham. So then they are seeing that Krishna has vatsalya for them, and therefore they pray for something which is very rare. Durlabham api idam prarthetum utsahavahe, that we dare to ask this. So that is Vani Gunanukathane. So in Gopal Champu, Jiva Goswami has these two characters, Madhukantha and the other one. What is the other one? Sitikantha, no?
They telling the story.
So they are the one who are telling the story of the whole Gopal Champu. They are these two people, Nalkovar and Manigreva. So therefore they have asked Vani Gunanukathane, that we engage our Vani in describing your activities. So maybe Jiva Goswami takes the hint from here and brings them in Gopal Champu as two characters, that we perform this description of your pastimes. Atra eka eva chakara eva arthaka prati saptami artham antam yojyam. So he said that this cha is only one here. Vani gunanu kathane shravano kathayam hastau cha. So he says this cha has to be applied to all the seventh vibhaktis. Vani gunanu kathane cha, and cha here means eva, means only. That it should be used only for that and nothing else. So Vani guna kathane cha, shravnau kathayam cha, karmsu hastau cha karmsu cha, manastav padyorna smrityam cha, sirastav nivas jagat praname cha, drishti satam darshne cha, bhavatanunam cha astu. Like that we have to apply cha everywhere. And cha also means end, but here it says it is eva arthaka. It's in the sense of eva only. So prati saptamiyantam yojyam tena tava gunanu kathane eva vani bhavatu natu anya kathayam iti evam sarvatra vyakhyam. So therefore everywhere it has to be applied that our speech, our ear, our hand, mind, head, eyes, they should engage only in these respective objects related to you and nothing else. Nayavyor manastvadiya padayo smritvam, and our mind should be absorbed in thinking of your feet. Nivas bhutanam jagatam jangamanam naradadi bhaktanam praname shirovastu. So he gives the meaning of this word nivasa jagat praname. So pranam means bow down, and nivas means the residence, and jagat means movable, which he glosses here as devotees like Narada. That Naradas are like your residence. So we should use our eyes to see them, not to bow down our head to bow down to them. Praname. He nivasa jagaditi sambodhan padamva. Or this nivas and jagat are not as one word, they are to be taken as separately, and both are sambodhana. He nivasa, he jagat. And bhavatanunam tvanmurti rupanam. And also our eyes should be engaged in seeing your form. Form here obviously is not Krishna's personal form, but form of the deity, the Vigraha. So that means the Vigraha also existed in the past, because sometimes people say that the temples are just recent things. They were not there before. But it is mentioned here. At least in Bhagavatam there are few references of temples in relationship to Ambarish Maharaj also. So this was the last verse of their prayers. Sri Shuka Uvacha Itham sankirtitastastabhyam bhagwan gokuleshwarah damna cha ulukhale baddha prahasan aha guhyakau. So when Bhagwan, the master of Gokula, was prayed in this way, glorified in this way by these two brothers, then smiling and still bound by the ropes, he spoke to the two brothers as follows. So it is very interesting that when you pray to somebody, then that person is free and you may be bound. So here they are praying to him who is bound himself. He should ask them, first remove my rope. Please let me sit down, relax. Then you can start some stotras. So he is on the ground on his knees and these people are praying to him. It's a very strange situation. So that's why he was smiling. So Prahasan aha Guhyaka. So he spoke to the Guhyakas, the sons of Kubera, although bound himself. So Sankirtitaha Sanstuta. So being glorified like this. Damna Chakarat Premna cha Baddha. So he says that Damna cha Ulukhale Baddha. That he was bound by the ropes. And then cha is there. So what is the sense of cha here? So he said cha signifies, which is not stated here, that he was bound by the ropes and also by the prema. So that is the significance of cha. Otherwise it could have been damna ulukhule baddha. So cha signifies that he was bound by prema. Prahasaniti prahasoyam ete devadeo man maya baddha स्वमोचनार्थम यम माम स्तुवन्ति स्वयं यशोदादि गोपी भीर दामना प्रेमणा च बद्धो अभीक्षणम भर्त्सित स्नेहेन गोकुले तिष्ठामि. So why was he smiling? So he has an interesting explanation for that. So he says, look, these people, they are praying to me that they should be freed from the bondage of Maya. Right? That's what they were praying. So, man maya baddha svamochnartham yam mam stuvanti. They are praying to me that please let us be not bound by our Maya. He says, but I am bound by the ropes and the love of Yashoda and the gopis, and I don't want to be released. I don't want that I should be made free from this bondage. So he said, that's how he is smiling. He says, they want freedom and I want to remain in this bondage. And not only bondage, abhikshanam bhartsita. I am continuously being taunted, chastised. Don't do this. Why are you stealing? Why are you breaking? So he says, I want to stay like this only. Snehena gokule tisthami. I want to stay in Gokula being chastised. And let me be bound by these ropes. अत्रत्यानां तासां भर्त्सनेन अहं यथा प्रिये न तथा अनयोस्तुत्या इति व्यञ्जयति. So what is the significance? It says the amount of satisfaction, pleasure, happiness that I am deriving being chastised, criticized by these people of Gokula, I don't feel happy by their prayers. So these prayers are not as satisfactory to me as this bond of rope. And then, why did you break the pot? Why are you so impatient? Just sit down here. So that is giving me more happiness than any of these prayers. So this is the Premana Gati Kutila. So this is the prema. It is very difficult to understand that how that these devas are praying and he's thinking when these people will get out from here quickly so that nobody sees them. He's waiting for them to leave. He says, go quick, hurry up, don't delay. Whatever you want I give, but just disappear from here. So he is relishing his bondage and not the prayer of these two people. So now Sri Krishna, he spoke to them. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. So now he is Bhagavan. He is speaking to them like that. Jatam mam puray vetad rishina karunatmana yat shrimadandhor vagbhir vibhranso nugraha kritaha. So he says that I already knew this, that you have been blessed by Devarshi in the form of curse, yat shrimadandhyor vagbhir vibhranso. So he cursed you to remove your pride because of your wealth and beauty, and in this way he has done a great favor to you. So this is already known to me. This Rishi is Karunatma, he is very compassionate, and therefore he did this. So Vagbhi nahi anyo jisto joshyan buddhi bhanso rajoguna Srimadada Vijatyadi Hiryatra Sri Tyutamasa. So Vagbhi Vibhransa Anugraha Krita. What is the Anugraha he did? When he spoke these slokas, that there is nothing which spoils or pollutes the intelligence of a person than the pride coming from wealth, Srimadat. So if you are born in high family, high class family, well, this education, that does not give that much pride as the wealth. So Sri Vibhransa Rupa Anugraheva Krita. Therefore he took away your wealth by curse, Vibhransa. So this has been a great blessing on you of Devarshi Narada. Sadhunam samachittanam sutram mata kritatmanam darshanat no bhaved bandha pumsakshno savituryatha. So in this sloka, Sri Krishna is explaining the importance of having darshan of sadhus. So sadhunam samachittanam. Sadhus who have samachitta means they do not have any hatred for anybody. So it is not that out of hatred Narada Rishi cursed them, because he is Samachitta, his mind is balanced, or Sama also means Narayan or Krishna, or his mind is fixed on Krishna. Sutaram Mata Kritatmanam. So therefore they are very much attached to me. Mata Krita Atma. Their Atma, their mind, their intelligence is surrendered to me. And by their darshanat no bhaved bandha. So by seeing them, there is no more bondage. So if you have darshan of a sadhu like this, then your bondage comes to an end. And then he gives an example. He says, Akshinoho Savituryatha. So just like when there is a sun, then there is no darkness for the eyes anymore. So there is light and then eyes can see properly. So in the same way, when we have darshan of a sadhu who are samchitta and devoted, then mind becomes pure and there is no more bondage. Nanu tam drishtva api asammanayatoho etad anugraha katham sambhavet tatraha sadhana. So if somebody raises a doubt that these two brothers were actually very disrespectful to Narada Rishi, so how is that he gave them blessing? So then Krishna speaks this verse, Sadhunam Samchittanam. Samchittanam Swaman Apamanabhyam Akshubhyatam. So he does not become agitated by his mana or apamana, by respect or disrespect. Means it is not that if you respect then he will bless you, and if you disrespect he will curse you. He is beyond that. So mana apamaniyor tulya mitrari pakshayo. Sutra matishayana mayeva krita atma manoyahi. Why is that? Because they have fully fixed their mind on me. Matkrita atmanam. Darshana antah darshan paryanta eva. So darshana, he says that antar darshan paryanta, that seeing, that looks like that there is a different reading which he has, because he seems to, instead of darshanat no bhaved bandha, he has darshananto bhaved bandha, because he is commenting on the word darshananta. So darshananta, if that is the reading, then he says darshananta means darshan paryanta eva. So means darshanantaha bhaved bandha. Means your bondage is only as long as you have not seen them. Once you have seen them, then bandha comes to an end. That is one meaning. Or he gives another meaning. Yadva darshnena anto nasho yasya sa. Or the word anta means destruction. That his darshan brings a destruction to darshana, bandha. So bandha is called darshananta, or that which is destroyed by the darshana of the sadhu. So savitu darshanat akshno bandhastama krito yatha nashyati tatha. So just as by seeing the sun, then the ignorance is dispelled, like that by seeing the sadhus, the avidya is destroyed, and that is the cause of bondage. Tena andhanam savitu darshanadapi yatha tamo na nashyati. So now one may raise a doubt that if that is the case, then why is that everyone who sees the sadhu does not become liberated? So then he answers this by first explaining the example. Says tena andhanam savitu darshanaadapi yatha tamo na nashyati. Says if somebody is blind, then even if the sun rises, then their ignorance is not removed. So yasya nasti swam buddhi shastram tasya karote kim. So Shastra has got all the knowledge, but if one does not have buddhi to understand, then what can it do? So lochana vihinanam darpanena kim prayojanam. One who does not have eyes, then what is the purpose of mirror for him? So similarly, if one is blind, or like an owl who does not open the eyes, even if not blind, the sun is there, then by seeing they close the eyes, then what sun can do? So he says in the same way, tathaiva nana aparadha malimasa manasanam asuranam Shri Naradadi darshanadapi na bandhakshaya iti vijyapitam. So he says in the same way, people who are offensive, and because of the offense, their minds are impure. Black, malimus means blackishness. So then even if they see a person like Narada, then their bondage is not dispelled. So that means you need qualification on both sides. So there is qualification of the prameya and qualification of the pramata. So the object whom we are knowing or we are seeing, and the knower. So if you don't have the proper pramana, right? Pramakarnam pramanam. If you don't have the indriyas, they are the pramana. For seeing the form, the eyes are pramana. So if you don't have that, then even if the light is there, what can it do? So similarly, even if sadhu is there and you have darshan of the sadhu, but your heart is impure due to offenses, then it will not have the effect that is implied from here, from this example of Pumsa Akshano Savitur Yatha. So that's why the word Akshana has been used. Otherwise, Pumsa itself was enough. Right? Should have said that if the sun is there, then the ignorance of the person is removed. Means the darkness is removed. So why the word Akshana is used? So Dadhi Asti Sakti Akshi Shabdanam Hiramasya Antadi Sarveshwara. This is the sutra here. Akshana. So in the same way, so that's the meaning he is taking from the word Akshana. That why, what is the significance? So in the same way, if I am offensive, even if I see great person like Narada, then my offense is like making me immune to get the grace. This is called immunity for grace. So you cannot get it. If you want to get the grace, you have to have the patra, you have to have the pot turned up, not upside down, then you can receive it. So that is the significance.
From their behavior, it looked like they were offensive in the sense, because earlier we read in Bhagavatam when we are doing that Devyani Asar Nishtha, So when Shiva was passing from there and they were just taking bath, so immediately they went out and put on the clothes. So like in front of a respectable person to be without clothes is also considered as an offense to that person. But still they got grace. So how is it?
Before
how is
grace,
this?
but before grace, what happened? You forget that. For 100 divine years, they had to stand like trees.
Such a grace. Now he is talking about the grace.
Well, grace came, but before that came not. It did not come just like that. It's not that by seeing Narada they became enlightened. It's like if sun is there and you have eyes, you will see immediately. Not that after 10 years you will see. So that means first they have to go through this because of their
offense.
Yes, it was offensive. But still they got the grace. They have to go through the offense. Outcome.
Babaji Maharaj.
That's why it is called Shapa. This is Anugraha and Shapa together. Because he has to remove their pride. Remember, he says, I don't see anything else unless I first remove their pride. Say, if I don't remove the pride, then they won't understand. So it was a grace in that sense, that although it is a curse, but ultimate result is that they see Krishna.
Babaji Maharaj.
Yes.
So, is this where in one of your articles you have written you need grace to understand grace? So once they got the grace, they realized that the curse was actually a grace.
Yes. Otherwise you don't realize. Otherwise you get more upset. Of course they were trees. Otherwise if they were cursed, maybe they would have done, and not turned into trees, they would have done something worse. Who is this person? That's why I said I will remove their pride. तद्गच्छतं मत परमौ नलकुबर साधनम संजातो मयि भावो वाम ईप्सितः परमो भवः. So he says, now you go, O Nalkubara. He is only speaking to one of them. Addressing both of them, but taking the name of only one of them, that O Nalkubara tad gacchata, that therefore now you go where sadhanam, that you go to your abode, but mat parmo, so you remain fixed on me, and sanjato mai bhavo vam ipsita parmo bhava, and you will have devotion for me, which is your abhishta, and as an outcome of that you will have no bhava, no birth again. So sanjato mai bhavo vam ipsita parama abhava. Abhava means na bhava iti abhava. Pradhanyadekam sambodhya hai he Nalkubara. So out of these two he is just addressing the elder one, that O Nalkubara. Ahameva parama sevyo yayo tatha bhutau santo. So mat parama means that you become my servants and I am the worshipable. So you become like that. Sadhanam, sadhanam. So sadhanam here means same as sadhan, means a place. Barihi dham sadhanam yami, remember that in Arth Sangraha. So that is the sadhan, sitting place. Sad, to sit. So na bhava samsaro yatasya. So then you will not have again samsara. You will not take birth again. Sri Shuka Vache. So Sri Sukadeva concludes this chapter. Ityuktau tau parikramya pranamya cha punah punah baddho lukhalam amantre jagmaturda samuttaram. So when they were spoken like this by Krishna, then they do parikrama, circumambulated him and bow down to him again and again. And then taking permission from him who was bound himself, they went to the northerly direction. That is the direction of Kubera. Kubera is the in charge of north, Shiva of northeast. That's why they are friends. So this is the end of 10th chapter. Ulukhale baddham baddha ulukhalam. So ulukhale baddham is bound by the ulukhala. And ahita agni adi. So this is just a samas where the kridanta dakta comes first. This part of the samas, instead of ulukhala baddha, it becomes baddha ulukhala, like ahita agni instead of agni ahita. Iti sarartha darshinyam harshinyam bhakta chetsam dashme dasmo adhyaya sangata sangata satam. So this comes to the end of commentary called Sarartha Darshini, which gives pleasure to the heart of devotees on the 10th chapter of 10th canto, which is written in the association of the devotees. So in 10th chapter we read the liberation of Nalkubara and Manigriva.
I would like to
ask a question, Babaji?
Yes.
So these two gods, Manigriva and Nalakubera, they have no eternal position. So I assume that at some point they will go to Vaikuntha, and do some other jivas then take that position, so that the lila goes on with other jivas occupying that post?
Yeah, this always goes on like that. Just like Indra is a post, it's not that same person remains Indra. So these are just posts.
And they will go to Vaikuntha and not to Goloka because they have this Aishwarya? No?
Well, it depends on what kind of mood they have.
Mm-hmm.
So Yavad Adhikarinam, there is a Vedanta Sutra that these adhikaris, they have their adhikar and they remain in that position only for that period.
I would like to understand better what it indicates that both identified themselves as Naradas, Anucharas. So does it mean that, does it indicate their mood of purification and that they have spent all this time thinking about it and now seeing the grace that he has given to them? And
yeah, they also understood it when he cursed them, and they realized, they came to their senses, and then he said that you will have darshan of Krishna. And then he told them earlier when he was speaking to them.
Babaji,
Yes.
the women in this pastime, we don't hear anything about them. They showed respect to Narada Muni, but they did not get any curse. Does this indicate that the two sons of Kuvera had some prior contact with Bhakti and therefore they were more eligible for a higher benediction?
No, they solved by the grace of Narada only.
Okay.
He has already predicted this. He says, Vasudevasya sanidhyam labdva divya sharachate vrittesvar loktam bhuyo labdha bhakti bhavishyata. He says that you become trees and you will be there for 100 divine years, and you will have association of Krishna, and then you will come back to your position, but you will be devotee at that time, labdha bhakti. So this Narada himself has said this, means this is his blessing. He said,
What would be the destination of the two women who showed respect to Narada Muni?
who should, they will also become devotees, but or maybe before them they have to become tree for 121 years. So Narada said this, that tatrapi madanugrahat smriti syat mat prasadena, that you will remember by my grace, and by my grace you will become devotees. So that's why they are saying we are servants of Narada, because they understood this.
So they received his grace, but they first had to suffer for their offenses. This we have discussed. So does this indicate that that even if an offense is there, the grace through the contact with the mere contact with the sadhu will come eventually? Or does this mean that when offense is there, then one can be really immune to the grace of the sadhu and actually nothing will happen due to the offense?
Well, it depends. Both factors are there, as I said. There is factor how powerful is the sadhu, because it's just a word, but there is so much variety of the sadhu. Somebody like Narada, and then there are other sadhus. Everybody is not on the same, and then it depends what kind of offense you have done. So they did not respect him, but they didn't do anything active to insult him. They did not abuse him or anything. They just kept standing there. But there are people who, go and destroy the ashram of a sadhu or kill somebody. So by association of sadhu, benefit will come, but then they have to go through that. Whatever offense they do, they have to get the reaction to that.
So therefore it's not that this contact will be fruitless. Something might happen, but okay, something will happen definitely. So
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it again depends.
okay, good. So then therefore there's also the case, if I understand correctly, there's also the case that one is so
Like
offensive.
Krishna himself says that Tanaham drusta kruran sansarasu naradhanam kshipami asram yonim. Right? That I throw them into asura yoni again and again. So that is also possible. Any other question?
Andres Balaji, Adibol. It seems like for me, very wonderful how Krishna, being forgetful of his God and doing all these leelas with Mother Yasoda, then comes to this pastime with these two devotees that offer these prayers with a lot of Aishwarya. Then my question is, how did he change for his mood with Mother Yasoda, being binded in the mortar, and then looking these two devotees in this Aishwarya mood and acting with them like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then coming back to be just a boy? This is my question. How should we understand this?
Yeah, because he says in Gita, yetha mam prapadyante tams tathai bhajamiham mam vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvasha. So he reciprocates according to the mood of the devotees or people who approach him. So therefore that ability he has when it comes to Mother Yashoda, then this Aishwarya cannot manifest in him because that is not needed, that is not the mood of Yashoda. But now when these people have this mood, then it is manifest like that. And in that also he did not become some 400 Vishnu or anything, still remained like that. He just, okay, he is accepting their prayers. But he did not change. So he could reciprocate even in that form of little boy. As he did with Brahma, also with Indra. So he still had this bhav with Brajvasis that I am Gopal. But when Brahma is praying, then he is not saying, well, I am just a Gopal, don't pray to me. No, he took the prayers. And he said, you are Narayana, Narayanastam nahi akhil dehinam. So he didn't deny it.
Babaji, I have a question.
Yes.
Babaji, many times I've heard that it's said that when Krishna shows his mercy or grace to somebody, he takes away their wealth. So, how to understand that? Because poverty results in emotional and mental suffering, and without wealth, you're not even able to perform your bhakti properly.
Then he will not do that. For some people, they cannot do bhakti when they have wealth. And there are others who cannot do if they don't have any wealth. So it is not that he takes away the wealth of everybody. He sees that if wealth is becoming an obstacle, as it was the case with Nalkubar and Manigriva, so then he took it away and then they came to their senses. But if you take away the wealth and you will become even a bigger atheist or you start drinking, then what is the point? That's not grace. So the point of grace is not taking away wealth and then torturing you. Point of grace is that you become devoted. So if somebody is very proud of the wealth and because of that pride is not interested in bhakti, and then Krishna wants to give grace, then he removes that pride. That is the sense of this pastime. So the idea is that something which is obstacle, that is removed, then it is his grace. But if he is giving you wealth, like many times people, they get lottery, they get a big, money. So then, is that a grace? And then you see after 2-3 years they are worse than before. Not only that they, wasted all the money which they got in the lottery. Then even whatever they had before, that also goes along with it. So then where is the grace in it? And then there are others who get the wealth, then they will use it in the service. So grace is to be seen, what is the effect of it. Whether this brings you closer to Krishna or it takes you away from Krishna. And that's the deciding factor. Anything else?
Question about our sadhana and emotions that actually rise. Okay, so I actually it's just experience that I had a few days ago. I had someone that was very angry that she came for a treatment, but she was angry at Krishna basically. She told me she was angry at Krishna and she was screaming and shouting so much at Krishna, basically saying really obscene things. I've never heard anything like that. So I was a little bit okay. But then once all that went out, she said at the end that she was sorry that she caused all the havoc that she did. But actually, it was enormous amount of pride that came out. And the day after, she was just doing her chanting and everything. So I'm just wondering how, I mean, obviously these things came out, and how wrong is this? It was, after that she was sorry. I mean, I just wonder if something like that happens, is that really, really wrong? Or how was this provoked? How was it even possible that it came out? Was that Krishna's doing, or how?
Yes, blame Krishna.
I don't know. I was just shocked, but she was sorry after that. So is she forgiven then afterwards, like immediately? Because I was thinking I have to pray to her guru now to forgive all this. And I didn't really understand how is it possible for these things to come out.
Well, many people have mental imbalance. They are not normal. So they have no control over the mind. There's a lot of frustration inside.
Okay.
So when it reaches a certain limit, then it comes out like that. So Krishna is the easiest person to blame because he's not going to come and say anything to you.
Mm.
He's immune, at least 100. After 100, he may also lose patience.
But it's a lot of pride then.
Yeah, it is aparadha if you understand. See, the problem is that most people are not very clear about what is bhakti.
Okay.
If you have understanding and if you have shraddha, then how can you think like this?
No, it's not possible.
If you have shraddha in Krishna, then how can you abuse him?
You can't.
So then it happens like that.
Oh.
People are ignorant. So in ignorance they do these things because of their frustration. It's still offensive, but Krishna also knows this. So he's not very upset. Alright. So that's why it is important to understand. Because if you know how things are working, if you know who is Krishna, how things are arranged, how my karma is working, then how will you blame him? When something good happens to you, then you say, I did it. Right? But when you have a stomach ache, then you say, Krishna, why this is happening to me? But when you ate, that time you did not think that I am eating. So then you are enjoying. Then when stomach ache happens, then Krishna is to be blamed. So it is very difficult to take blame for oneself. The problem is coming because of my own action. But that is hard to accept. So then let me blame God. So there are so many people who blame God. So the thing is that they don't understand who is God. If they had proper understanding who is God, they would not do this. So there are so many people who do that. So they go to temple, then something wrong happens, then they go and start abusing the deity. Why did you do this to my child? Why did he die? Why this? as if this is what he is doing. Okay.
In the case of comparison between the being the taking dars means meeting with the sadhu and atheist person and the son and blind person. In the case of son and blind, even the blind person can feel the heat, means sun in the form of heat.
So we have to see for what the example is being given. That's why the word eye is used. Otherwise, you should have used charma. So you feel the heat not with the eye, but with your skin. So eye is used to indicate removal of the darkness, because in darkness eye cannot see. So that's why you have to understand the example. Okay.